Hey everybody, so it is time for a ginormous, humongous book haul. I have been sent so many amazing books. I need to tell you about every single one of them. And today I'm here to make that TBR of yours explode. So we better get started because this is a huge stack of books to tell you about. Let's go. Hi everybody and welcome back to my channel. It's Russell with Ink and Paper Blog. How are you all doing today? As always, I hope you're happy, I hope you're healthy, I hope you're safe, and of course I hope you're reading an amazing book or two or three or four. This is the fourth and final video where you will see me in my Powell's St. Bernard t-shirt because I am filming all these videos on a day off I took after my birthday. All of them full of amazing books, if I do say so myself. And today is no different. Today is a good old-fashioned book haul. Amazing books that have been sent my way that I need to make sure wind up on your TBR. So get out that pen, get out that paper, get out that Goodreads, however you keep track of that said TBR. If you are so able, please order these books from your local independent bookstore and or have your library get you a copy as soon as possible. The first book I'm going to tell you about is probably of one of our greatest living authors to date, and that is Ali Smith's new novel, Companion Piece, out by Pantheon here in the United States. This is sort of the follow-up to her seasonal quartet, which we all know, rave reviews, Booker nominated, all of that kind of stuff, complex, complicated, everything that we love about Ali Smith. I'm just going to read you sort of the blurb on this one because this is what is sort of at the heart of every Ali Smith book. A story is never an answer. A story is always a question. Here we are in extraordinary times. Is this history? What happens when we cease to trust governments, the media, each other? What have we lost? What stays with us? What does it take to unlock the future? Doesn't that sound like an Ali Smith book? It starts with you at the gates of hell, and Cerberus is there, the three-headed dog, saying hello. So there you go. That's a companion piece by Ali Smith, out now from Pantheon Books. Okay, the next book I've actually already talked about in a video, so I won't give it, talk about it too much because one, I think a lot of people are probably already reading it, and they should, and that's Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, out here from Knopf. This is one of her sort of futuristic dystopian books. We have three characters. One is a young boy who has been sort of banished from England to the forests of Canada due to an interaction he has at a dinner party. The second is like 2 decades later, I believe, we have an author who is on a book tour, and something amazingly in her book sort of resonates with the story of that boy who came to Canada. And then we have a third character who's a detective who is sent to investigate something that connects sort of all of that together. Everyone I know who has read this has, and I trust greatly, has really raved about it. So that's Sea of Tranquility by Emily St. John Mandel, out now from Knopf, so you can get your hands on it as we speak. Okay. This book I didn't even know about, and it just arrived in my mail, a short little novella, but I will take it because I'm obsessed. And this is The Faces by Tove Ditlevsen. This is out from Picador, this beautiful little novella copy. This is translated from the Danish by Tina Nunali. And this is about a woman. She is children's book author. She's a mother. She's a wife. She is sort of obsessed with this idea that her philandering husband is going to leave her at any minute. But here's the sort of the kicker. She keeps seeing these like disembodied faces and hearing these voices. And most of all, she's just like scared and petrified that she'll never be able to write again. And as sort of she descends into this world of pills and hospitalization, she really begins to wonder if it says, is insanity really something to be feared, or is it sort of a type of freedom? I don't know. There's just sort of like, there's this Sylvia Plath thing that comes into my head when I think about what I just read. Yeah, so Tove Ditlevsen is an amazing writer, and I was so pleased when this showed up. So that's The Faces by Tove Ditlevsen. This is translated again from the Danish by Tina Nunali, and this is out from Picador as we speak. I love that they're staying consistent with that face on all of the different books. It's pretty interesting having that collection on your shelves. So this is a funny story about this next book, because this author reached, I read about this book in Publishers Weekly and I was interested in it, but I don't have a contact at this publisher. So I knew that I was going to have to buy it. And then the author reached out to me and offered to send me a copy, which was so lovely. And then the copy arrived autographed to someone else, and I thought it was hilarious. But I do think the book sounds rather fun. So that's The Circus Infinity by Wong. This is out from Angry Robot. And this is the story of Persephone 9. So Persephone 9 is a place. Let's start there. Persephone 9 is a place. It's a pleasure moon. And it's here that our main character, Jess, he's a mixed-race asexual empath with gravity manipulation abilities. Say that 10 times fast. He wants to hide. He's trying to hide from someone who is coming after him. So he decides to hide on this planet. And because these people want to torture him and study him. And he joins the circus, as all people should when they're trying to avoid something. And he finds a band of misfits that become his friends. But then he also gets introduced to Nico, who is a sort of a crime boss who figures out who Jess is and wants to use them. And as sort of Nico's requests come together, they start to threaten the circus, and Jess and his friends decide that they're going to fight back. So I think that sounds really fun. I really like the representation in it. And so that's The Circus Infinity by Wong. And this is out from Angry Robot. It came with a really beautiful pen too. And I hope, for his sake, so mine is made out to Barry. I'm hoping that Barry got my copy and it's made out to Russell. And I think that is just so endearingly wonderful and hilarious. So hopefully you'll pick that up if that sounds like it's up your alley. The next book I want to tell you about is Bitter Orange Tree by Jokha Alharthi. And this is translated from the Arabic by Marilyn Booth. You might remember Celestial Bodies, which won the Man Booker International Prize. And she was the first woman author from Oman, I believe, to be translated into English. Is that right? Is that right? And she won the Man Booker and all of that sort of. And this is her next book out from Catapult. And just take a moment at how beautiful that cover is right there. And this is the story of a young woman. She's an Omani student at a British university, and she's, sort of that caught between the present and the past. She starts to sort of think about relationships and relationships that have formed her, and one is a bond with this woman who is almost like a grandmother to her, who passed away right before she left the Arabian Peninsula to come to Britain. And it's sort of like this historical narrative and how all of that comes together and those relationships come together as our main character is studying and trying to figure out and form new friendships and form new relationships. So I'm really excited about this. I loved Celestial Bodies. So that's Bitter Orange Tree by Jokha Alharthi. And this is translated again from the Arabic by Marilyn Booth, out from Catapult Press. Okay, the next book is an FSG book where I think this cover is just stunning, and that is The Colony by Audrey Magee. She is an Irish author, and her first book was The Undertaking, which I believe was shortlisted for the Women's Prize, if I'm not mistaken. And this is the story. It's in 1979, and it's about a tiny, tiny place. And there's this English painter who travels to this small island to sort of be inspired. And he wants to be he just wants to take it and get there in the most sort of rudimentary ways to experience it all. And then we have a Frenchman who's sort of behind him, who's been sort of studying dialect and language in this part, this very reclusive, cut off part of Ireland. And then we have the people that live there and sort of have their own sort of idea of history and the world that's going on. And at this time in the 1970s, Ireland is erupting in violence, and there's a lot going around, and there's lots of places to place that blame. And it's a portrait of all of these characters and how they come together. Not, you know, this artist, this linguist, and the people who live in this community. So that's The Colony by Audrey Magee, out now from FSG. And again, there is just something about covers these days. They're just artistically beautiful in so many ways. A book that I probably don't need to talk about because it was, I think it's a, is it a Good Morning America read? Remarkable Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This is out from Ecco Books. This book, at the center of this book, is an old curmudgeon octopus. So come on, what else do you need from that? So our main character is named Tove. She started working at the aquarium because her husband has passed away. And so she starts to work the night shift, and she creates a relationship with this octopus. And she's dealing with the loss. Her son disappeared on a boat on Puget Sound. And the octopus starts to investigate and figure out what happened to her son and their relationship and their friendship. I will say I started this book. I found it a little bit weird in the beginning to be from the perspective of the octopus. But then I just found him so endearing. So I'm really excited to see where it goes. And so that's Remarkably Bright Creatures by Shelby Van Pelt. This is out now from Ecco Books. You can get your hands on it right now. Okay. I'm trying to talk fast because I'm worried that this video may be really long, but I want to also make sure you read all of these books. Just Like Mother by Heltzel is out from Nightfire, which is a imprint over at Tor. It's their horror imprint. And this book sounds terrifying, if I'm being honest with you. So I'm just going to read it because I tried to figure out how I was going to summarize it, and I can't do it. The last time Maeve saw her cousin was the night she escaped the cult in which they were raised. For the past 2 decades, Maeve has worked hard to build a normal life in New York City where she keeps everything and everyone at a safe distance, no dwelling on the past. When Andrea, her cousin, suddenly reappears, Maeve regains the only 2 friends she's ever had. Soon she's spending more time at Andrea's remote Catskill estate than her own cramped apartment. Maeve doesn't even mind that her cousin's wealthy work friends disapprove of her single lifestyle. After all, Andrea has made a fortune in the fertility industry. Baby fever comes with the territory. The more Maeve immerses herself into Andrea's world, the more disconnected she feels from her life back in the city. And the cousin's increasing attachment triggers memory Maeve had fought hard to bury. But confronting the terrors of her childhood may be the only way for Maeve to transcend the nightmare still to come. That's Just Like Mother by Heltzel, out now from Nightfire. I believe this just came out maybe this week or is coming out next week, so you can get your hands on it very, very soon. The next book that I want to tell you about, as all of those books just fell on the ground, as they should, is Theater of Marvels by Liane Dillsworth. This is out from Harper. This came out in April, so you can get your hands on it. Sorry, a little bit late to get it out to you guys. It says, crowds gather at Crickle's Variety Theater, a place where the people come to gaze and gap, and where curiosity is satisfied with displays of intrigue and fear. They're here for the star of the show, a mysterious African warrior queen, the great Amazonia. They needn't know this warrior is in fact Zelia, a mixed-race actress from the East End, fooling them each and every night with her thrilling performance. The show has never been so popular, but something is amiss, and when Crickgill's newest act goes missing, Zelia feels compelled to investigate, knowing the terrible fates that can befall women in Victorian London. So one, I think that sounds really interesting. I'm fascinated by the sort of the sleight of hand of tricking all of these people and all of that. So that's Theater of Marvels by Liane Dillsworth, out now from Harper. Okay, only a few more left. I'm probably not going to be too long. A book that just came out from Deep Vellum Press, a press that I don't hear a ton about, but to be honest with you, everything I've ever read by them, I've really, really loved. And that's Country of Origin by Dalia, Azim, again, out from Deep Vellum Press. And this is the story of a young woman who lives in Cairo, and Cairo sort of is going through, it says Cairo goes up in flames, sort of attacking her privileged life. This sort of puts doubt into her head about her father, who has a role in this new like military-backed government. And she decides to flee to America with this young soldier she barely knows. And yeah, and then that decision and the far-reaching consequences that that decision has on many aspects of hers and other people's lives. So a bunch of my friends, I believe, just saw her at Booktopia, Vermont. I believe she was an author there. This book has the most amazing feel to it. Sometimes you just get a book and that's one of them. So this is Country of Origin by Dalia Azim. This is out from Deep Vellum Press. Okay, another little translated gem is A Sister's Story by Donatella di Petriantino. So my Italian is terrible. Translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein. This was a finalist for the Strega Prize in 2021. Europa, who published this is their new ARC format, so I apologize. I don't have what the cover itself looks like. But this says, it's the darkest time of night. Adriana, a baby in her arms, hammers on her sister's door. Who is she running from? What is she trying to run from? Where? Why? And that sort of upends her sister's life. Everything changes. And it also brings into light and what's the word I'm looking for? The revelations that sort of this instance has. Now, years later, the narrator gets an unexpected urgent summons back to where she's from, and she goes on a journey long through the night, just sort of going through her memory, thinking about these events. And once she's get back to this place, she'll discover some of the truths of her past as she tries to figure out what's going on in the present. So that's A Sister's Story by Donatella di Petriantino, translated from the Italian by Anne Goldstein. And this was a finalist for the 2021 Strega Prize. Anne Goldstein does so much translation for Europa. She's so fantastic, isn't she? Huge fan. And yeah, so that sounds really good. Last but not least is a book that came out last week, and that's Vigil Harper by Julia Glass. Now, I loved Julia Glass's novel 3 Junes. If you haven't read that, you absolutely should. And this book is one of those sort of, I think she won the National Book Award for that book, if I'm not mistaken. This is sort of a decade in the future. We are in Vigil Harbor. It's a tiny community. It's got yacht clubs and divorces and all of that stuff going on. And there's a marine biologist that's sort of studying and thinking the world is going nowhere. And it's about the drama of this town. And I'm not going to get into the specificity of that. I think you just sort of get dropped into this world and you learn about these people and all of the drama. And then 2 visitors arrive, a stranded traveler with subversive charms and a widow seeking clues about the past love with ties to Austin, a woman who may or may not have been merely human. There you go. Vigil Harbor, Julia Glass. Take your time. She is fantastic. This is out now from Pantheon Books. You can get your hands on it. I would offer to hold all these books, but half of them wound up on the floor. So there you go. I hope you liked this video. I hope it made your TBR explode. As always, if you are a return subscriber, I could not do this without you. If you are new to my channel, thank you very much. I hope you hit the button, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. As always, I encourage you to read globally, shop locally, and until next time, I wish you happy reading. Bye, everyone.